What's going on, everyone? Yeah, I'm changing it up a little bit. I'm starting the podcast, but I'm here with Coach Phil
I
at
know it's
FitBod.
like it's like putting on the other shoe first.
Yeah, I know. There was like that little oh, how we doing this? How we doing this? How are you doing today, Phil?
Fantabulous. How about yourself?
Doing great into the full swing of fall. We've got Canadian Thanksgiving coming up here in a couple of weeks already. So looking forward to a little bit of ham, not turkey, and all the other good stuff that comes with it.
Nice, man. And then you got a little camping going on this weekend, right?
Yep, yep. We do. Well, I guess I was gonna say annual, but this is the second year we've done it. But we do it with like a bunch of friends. It's kind of the last holiday or last long weekend of kind of the summer, end of summer, if you will. So we'll see. The weather isn't looking great, so we're cutting it down by a couple of nights. But yeah, I've got the tent ready to go. It gets down to 10 Celsius at night, so I think that's probably in the 40s about. So or low 50s, gets a little bit chilly, but we'll have some fires, some hot dogs, all that good stuff. And you're going away this weekend as well.
Yeah, yeah. Just nice little lake trip here with the family and some friends, and it's gonna be nice. We're gonna be sitting a little bit warmer. I think at night it's calling for like low 50s and highs only going to be like mid 70s. So which is perfect. That is like right where I want the weather. So I'm looking forward to it. Got a nice bottle of whiskey to go.
Nice.
Got a couple of steaks from the cow that we got earlier this year. Thawing out, ready to get slapped on the
Love
grill. Got a
I
hot
love it.
tub. Got lake views, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. What's the choice of whiskey this weekend?
So I have really been on a toasted bourbon kick the last
Okay.
like 6 months. That's kind of been my go-to. So I got it's Penelope toasted
Okay.
and just absolutely love any of the Penelope bourbons. They're phenomenal, great body of the flavor notes, love them, but the toasted just it's like a s'mores in a glass almost.
Even better. Are you neat or you do some ice?
So here's the thing. I am a bourbon steward, which is the bourbon equivalent of a wine sommelier. So I always start off neat because I want to get the full spectrum of flavors. I want to drink it the way that it's initially bottled, but you are supposed to add a little bit of water, whether that is from actual water or you can also put an ice cube in. Whenever I say an ice cube, I don't mean the big square block. I mean like one regular cube of ice, because that would usually be about like 3 ounce,
Teaspoon.
2, 3 ounces of water. So that's going to actually open up some more flavors. It's going to change the profile. It's going to be less than 2 ounces. What am I saying? But it's going to also just kind of give it a little bit more chill, which I'm in the South. If I want a warm beverage, I'm going to have coffee or tea.
Yeah. And then do you do a standard whiskey? We'll get to the topic here soon, but standard whiskey glass or a Glencairn?
So ideally, a Glencairn. It absolutely changes up the way that your nose is going to smell everything, which is going to impact your taste. Fun fact, by the way, the best way to actually cleanse your palate before you go smelling or tasting is to
More whiskey.
sniff the inside of your elbow
Okay.
because you don't have any deodorant or perfume there. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Give it, give it a shot. Pun not intended, but fully embraced. Give it a shot. Next time you go to crack open a bottle, smell it. And then the other tip is this: whenever you smell a whiskey, never smell it with your mouth closed because
Mm,
otherwise all the actual alcohol is going to just burn everything. So you're not
yeah.
getting all of the aromas, you're
Huh.
not getting the full flavor of it. You're going to
Interesting.
feel the burn like in that back of your nose around your eyes. So if you actually open your mouth a little bit and sniff, like, for anybody who happens to watch a video, but if you actually sniff with your mouth open, you're going to get one set of flavors. You're going to get a
Yeah.
certain set of scents. But
Hmm.
then if you reset, sniff the inside of your elbow, and then smell again, you're going to smell things that you didn't catch were there before. Guarantee it.
Hmm. Interesting. Maybe we should do a podcast, Whiskey Tips with Phil,
Hey, oh,
sometime.
no, I'm getting drunk on the podcast. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You get a bottle, I'll get a bottle, and we'll just go through a tasting.
Dude, I am so down because I can't remember if we've done a podcast yet on alcohol, but that would be a fun way to do it.
I think you should. I think we should. All right. Well, shifting gears. So today's topic, we're going to be going through maybe some underrated exercises, or things that maybe people don't necessarily think about a lot, that we feel should be included most of the time within your training program. And we can probably use the term functional here, and I know that's been maybe overused in the past, but coming from just a kines background, and working with a lot of in-person people in the past, and utilizing a lot of these things, there is still a pretty big benefit to that. And we were talking before we hit record, and kind of the impetus of this topic here today was, I still do some in-person work, and the thing between, I guess, the online and in person is, I did online for about 7 years, just purely. And before then, about 5, 6 years of in person work. And you forget how poor people move.
Yeah.
And it's not on the list for today, but just as an example, I use as a warm up for people cat cow, right? And if you're unfamiliar with it, takes your spine through flexion and extension. And that is a normal movement for your spine. Like, despite, all of the scariness around, oh, you can't flex your spine. No, like that, to a certain degree, that's okay. And if you're unloaded, you should be able to flex your spine. And I am always, and I still am, surprised on how people cannot even go through a simple flexion and extension, especially through the low back. They can't conceptually understand how to bring their hips underneath, and flex that low back. The
Mhm.
other one is extension through their thoracic spine, so your mid back. Because, I mean, most of the people that probably work with online and in person, they've got desk jobs. And so they're sitting in this rounded position all day. And as much as maybe upper cross syndrome really isn't necessarily a thing, still not being able to extend your T spine, you're going to lose functionality, right? And you are going to just be a little bit more stiff. You're going to have a bit more soreness. And so that was kind of the big idea behind, like, all right, like, we should talk about some of these things that are a bit more functional. Maybe they're not your big movements in, your flat pressing and things like that, and okay, building muscle, but if we want to move a little bit better, well, these are some of the things that we can include within our training program that's going to help with that, and that is going to help strengthen maybe some of those smaller muscle groups, or some of those more smaller functional things that we don't necessarily think of on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So I absolutely love this topic. It does make me miss my in-person days a lot because there's so much benefit to seeing, okay, well, what is your actual range of motion? What is your degree of actual flexibility? Because most people think of flexibility and they're just thinking of like, okay, well, can I touch my toes? And there's something to be said for that. But when in life, from a practical standpoint, when in life are you forced to touch your toes? Like from a seated position, never. From a standing position, maybe like 2, 3 times a day. But if we
If
think
that,
about
yeah.
like, okay, thoracic rotation, if we think about spinal flexion, spinal extension, you should be able to do those things. And they do carry into day to day tasks, chores, hobbies. Like,
Just move better.
yeah, think about even just like sweeping your floor. Like, you have thoracic rotation while you're sweeping your floor, unless you're just working all shoulders. But
Yeah, yeah.
so I
I
love
mean,
that you
well,
brought this up.
right? Yeah, I mean, you always hear it like, "Oh, when did your back go?" oh, I went bent over to tie my shoes, right? Like it's
Mhm.
always this like little straw that breaks the camel's back when it's like, hey, yeah, some of these things can actually then really have you that, benefit in not having that go for you.
One of my favorite lines, just because every time somebody brings up like, "Oh, man, my back went out." Do you remember, the show Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yes, we watched that like a few years ago, like for the first time since I watched it as a kid. And my God, that is a funny show.
So his brother, played by Brad Garrett. So Brad Garrett, for those listening, he's the younger brother, but he's like 7 foot tall, and he's always like
Yeah. Mopey.
he's like the Eeyore of
Yes.
giants. He's like, "Robert." He was in a show after that called Till Death, and I think it only ran for like 2 or 3 seasons, but one of the funniest lines I've ever heard on TV was, you see him coming down the stairs, and again, this is like almost 7 foot tall New York guy. He's coming down the stairs. "Oh God, joy, joy." And his wife's like, "What's wrong?" "I sneezed while peeing and everything went out." I just think as guys, it's like I instantly know what that would feel like, and now I'm terrified of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
So, okay, we're doing top 5 overlooked exercises.
Yeah. And for me, the first one that really came to mind was like a farmer carry
Mhm.
or even just like a single arm farmer carry. And so we're going to kind of blend these two together. And for those who may not be familiar with that, it's picking up some heavy ass weights and walking. that's that's all that it is. And so, for something like this, I've recently kind of started bringing those back into my programming, and it was kind of like maybe the most surprising thing I noticed was like my ankle stability. Like that was the
Mm,
very first thing that I kind of noticed of having to pick up the weights, keep those shoulders back, grip heavy weight. So I mean, it's great for forearm strength too. Like if you really want to build some forearm strength and actually grow your forearms, like I've never been one to go, I need to do forearm work, right? I think it's kind of silly.
mhm.
But if you want to build those forearms up, just do some farmer carries. But from an ankle stability standpoint, from a core stability standpoint as well, I think it also can help in terms of some postural work. Because again, we're not going to want to get those shoulders rounded. It's really important that you're able to set those shoulders back and you can keep them there. And then even, just the slight like keeping the weights off the body. And it's not like you got to be, way out there off the body, but just to not even kind of let them rest a little bit and to be able to pick that up, walk. I don't know. I would say 20, 30 seconds. I think that's a pretty good time for most people. You're gonna get a lot of benefit out of it. And two, if you're, a little under cardiovascular developed, like it could be some cardio as well. And so from a functional standpoint, I mean, being able to just pick up and carry things, there's gonna be that benefit. And then from a single, to a single arm carry, really not allowing that weight to take you. You have to be able to kind of
Fight it.
contralaterally, yeah, fight it. And so again, we're kind of getting that resistance through the spine, through the abdominals, where you've got to stay upright. You've got to keep your shoulders level and not let that weight take you. And so whether you're carrying your kid, right, in the car seat, things like that, you start to kind of see like, okay, like there's going to be some of those functional movement patterns that are going to transfer, in that day to day. And you do get that side benefit, like I said, of getting some really good grip strength. And I think there is some correlation between grip strength and mortality rate.
Yes.
I've seen. I don't know exact what the parameters are, but you are then getting that health benefit by just having better grip strength.
Yeah. So I love farmer's carry. Whenever you brought this topic up, I wrote down my 5, and this was the third one that came to mind for me. And just the more that you dive into it, the more I'm like, damn, that really should be higher on my list, like possibly number 1, because I do them out of just kind of default right now. Like I mentioned, I'm just in a season of life where the thing that makes the most sense for me is training from home 4 days a week. I've got about 40, 45 minutes. I've got dumbbells that adjust up to 80 pounds, and I've got an adjustable bench. and I've got a couple of heavy medicine balls. I use farmers carries once a week in my programming. It's been great for not just my grip strength and my forearms, but I swear that is the thing that has worked my core more than anything else. And I love doing the single arm ones as well. Like you said, we're having to fight leaning towards that one side. So we're getting some really good engagement out of our obliques now. But the other thing that I love for this is the functional side of it. And I know that's like the trendy buzzword the last couple of years in the fitness space, but as dads, we have an unspoken code whenever it comes to unloading the groceries. You must
Yes.
do it in one trip. If you
Yeah.
don't do it, you've
You're
failed.
not a dad. Yeah.
You're not a dad.
That card revoked.
You have the whitest New Balances if you don't
Yes.
do one grocery trip. You have no
Yes.
grass stains on your New Balances. But I love doing those because of that functional carryover for, hey, can I hold my kids? Can I carry all the groceries at one time? There's so many benefits to doing farmers carries. This is one that, as long as you've got the space for it, because that's about the only limiting factor I can really think of. In some of the
Yeah.
bigger gyms, it's gonna, especially if you're training at 5, 6 PM during peak hours,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a
Can
bit
be
of a pain
hard.
in the ass to try to do it. So if you're gonna add these into your programming, 1, make sure that you have the space to do them. Number 2, make sure that you're going to just have piece of the situation of if somebody happens to walk in your path of intended travel, it's a shared public space. But
Yeah.
I love these. If I had to give these like the, you know, S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier type category, I think farmers carries, whenever I think about what is a great exercise, like where should I rank it? This without a doubt belongs in the A tier for me, and it's like A bordering on S. And I say that only because I have 2 on this list that I strongly feel should be in the S category. I don't want to water it down, but the farmers carry, that is like one strong argument away, I think, from being in that S tier for me.
Yeah, definitely. And like you can be a little versatile with them too. Like if you can't get the dumbbells, you can use a trap bar, right? Like, and there are like specific equipment too. Like my gym has them, and they're specifically made for farmer carries, which is fantastic. And yeah, if you don't have the space to walk, you can still do them just standing there. I mean, I think there is going to be a little loss of some of the just walking with it benefit, right? But you're still going to be able to work on the grip strength. You're still going to be able to work on your posture. And you're still going to have to, you still got to engage that core to like hold that weight up and keep that proper posture. So yeah, they can also be a little more versatile too.
Have you seen some of the DIY home builds for farmers carry?
Haven't, but I got to imagine that they're pretty good.
Dude, some of these guys go getting like the heavy, almost ship rope, like wrapped around
Yeah.
them, and
Okay.
it has this like old Viking feel to it. I'm like, damn,
That's awesome. Well,
I might build me one.
I mean, there you go. Like if you add some fat grips, right? Make it even harder if you have to. Like again, like you can kind of change it up and challenge yourself in different ways.
Yeah. Now, for me, what I put as my number one, so I'll move to my number one, and then let's hear your next one. For me, I put face pulls on here. And I know face pulls have gotten a lot more attention, but by default, this is one that I will be guilty of taking out of my own programming from time to time. And as soon as I take it out, I feel the difference of my external rotators not being quite as strong. I feel the difference of my shoulder health, of my posture. I start to feel the dip in pressing strength from my rear delts just not being quite as strong and targeted. I keep trying with like bent over dumbbell rear delt flies to try to get the same level of rear delt engagement. And personally, I just can't. So I love the face pulls. I know they can be a bit of a pain in the ass to set up, and there is a bit of fine tuning it unique to your body. Some people are going to feel best with, okay, is the pulley set a little bit above you? Is it set just a little bit below you? Some people feel them the absolute best if they're doing them from a seated position or even a laying position. I feel
Yeah.
like this one, the only drawback is just it takes a while to dial it in for your body. But I love it. They're not flashy, they're not building any of the, mirror muscles or t-shirt muscles, but you feel the functionality of them whenever they're not in there versus when they're in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even like using these as, like, part of my warm up, right? If, like, I don't really wanna do it mid-session, like, prior to a deadlift day, like, you wanna get that upper back going because that's gonna help hold some of that weight you're pulling. You talk about pressing, right? Like, that's gonna help get things going for your pressing, and again, you kinda come back to the a lot of people are just sitting nowadays, and a lot of those muscles just do tend to get underused. And so, kind of in the same vein, like warming up, I've started warming up a lot with doing some T's and some Y's and some like some W's with like 2.5, 5 pound plates, 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps, and just a lot of some of those, that low to mid trap that isn't going to get a lot of work. I mean, they are always firing, right? It's like, "Oh, my glutes aren't firing." Well, if they weren't, you wouldn't be able to walk, right? Like, just because you can't feel it doesn't mean it's not there, but these are a lot of those underlooked muscles where, if I'm working with someone who's got some shoulder pain, well, chances are those muscles are very underdeveloped, and those are some of the things that we need to work on. So, yeah, like, having those face pulls, having some of those other smaller muscle groups, again, we're just kind of bringing it back to that functionality of just being able to move better and being able to feel better, right? And so, yeah, if you're someone like Phil who doesn't like doing them in the workout, use it as your warm up. Like, I'll do it like while I'm warming up my deadlift, I'll do a warm up set, and then I'll go and do my face pulls. Quick little rest, do my second warm up set, and that way, like, you're gonna kind of get through them a little bit quicker and not feel like you're quote unquote wasting your time with them.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time with them.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's not what I
more so
meant,
like
but
it's more so like, "I've had these in here long enough. Let me take them out. Let me take them out
yeah,
for a little bit. Let me give myself a little spice in my workout." But
I
even
feel like
here
we
at
all get a
home,
little lazy with some things, right? We're like, I don't want to do that.
even here, so what I did was I just took a drill and a stud finder, and the stud finder said, "Hey, Phil, what's up?" But I took a eyelet from, like, the hardware store, and I just twisted that in to the stud in my garage, and I use bands to be able to do face pulls, and love them. It even with bands, and there's something to be said about bands where you can, for those who don't know, you can pair 2 bands together, and now if you've got a 10-pound band and a 20-pound band, add them together, you've got a 30-pound band if your next jump up for a single one would have been a 40 or a 50. I also love that bands have a different, more of a variable resistance curve as well. So I love that. So that again, face pull, that's my number 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm looking at my list. I love these, and they are thought about a little bit more than maybe some of the things we have talked about. But those are Bulgarian split squats. To me, outside of, your squatting and your deadlifting and all of that for functionality, this is gonna be like top 5, right? Now, maybe there's some argument, like, are they great for actually building muscle, whatever. But just from building like pure single leg strength, to me, there's nothing better. It challenges that balance so much, right? And I always kind of like big reasoning also for me is like we'll watch, like hockey players in their off-season training. Guess what they're doing? Heavy ass Bulgarian split squats, right? And so those are gonna be, yeah, they're hard as hell. I get it. They suck. But if you just want to build powerful glutes, you want to build some great legs, I think once you kind of get the balance down, you're gonna be able to really overload them for those hypertrophy benefits. But just from single leg strength, ankle stability, balance help, I think just from a functional mental standpoint of challenging yourself with those in the gym and really pushing it, they're fantastic. If you can do like obviously, if you can, you should be doing full range of motion. And so to me, that means your back knee is touching the floor, right? Like that's full range of motion. You're gonna get a really good stretch, right? Like you almost don't need to do any static stretching. If you can do those heavy under load, full range of motion, you're gonna get a great stretch throughout the hips and the hip flexors. And so if we're going like S tier, A tier, it's hard to decide between farmer carries and the Bulgarians. Like they're kind of like 1A, 1B just in terms of functionality and just pure in like single leg strength.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I love Bulgarians as well. There's so much benefit to it. I think the only drawback for them for some people is just, are you at a point where you can do them effectively? Does it make sense to do them? And
They are more advanced.
yeah, it is more of, I would say, like an advanced intermediate level. Like, if that makes sense. Like, if you've only been training for a year or less, you probably don't necessarily need them thrown in, but once you cross that 1 year mark of consistency, you should give them a shot. They're going to be humbling the first time you do them. Be ready for no weights to absolutely
Yeah.
torture you, and be ready for just holding the like 10-pound dumbbells
Yeah.
whenever you do finally feel like adding some resistance.
Yeah.
But I love them. And that brings me to my first one that I'm gonna put on here that is in the S tier is the single leg deadlift. Look, it is a challenging movement, much like the Bulgarian. It is not for someone who's a beginner. It's not somebody who's even at that early to mid stage of intermediate, but the balance can feel awkward. That's why even advanced lifters will avoid this one. It's building your hamstrings. It's building your glutes. It's improving your balance. It's improving your hip stability. It's great for athletes. It's fantastic for injury prevention. Just like a Bulgarian split squat, be smart with your setup. Have something that you can kind of catch yourself on. Ideally, do them kind of like by a wall, maybe like towards a corner. So that way, if you start to fall forward, you can brace yourself against the wall, catch yourself. If you start to fall over, you can lean against the wall. I really love the single leg deadlift. There's just so many pros to it, and I feel like a lot of people will overlook it. And then whenever they try it for the first time, it's almost like, I don't ever want to do those again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, anytime I'm introducing it to someone, like I have them hold on to something. Like it's comes with the caveat of like, well, I don't want you to use this as a crutch, but I want you to use it because I want to focus on keeping our hips level, right? I don't want like no can opening. We're keeping shoulders level. Like we're still like I want us to get that form down, and then we can continue to work on that balance. I mean, I don't want to reiterate what you already said because I think those are all the perfect points, things that I would have brought up as well. And again, I mean, they can be versatile. Like as you get more advanced, use a barbell, right? Like you can really then start to like overload it, like as you become a lot more competent and confident as you kind of maybe start with some body weight stuff, right? And yeah, I think it comes back to just so many people just move poorly, and I think it is an overlooking factor of training, unilaterally and training, each leg separately so that you can kind of have that whole functionality and not just training like, leg presses or something along those lines.
Yeah. All right. So what was the next one on your list?
We're going to go with a Pallof press.
Yes.
So,
I had this one too.
yeah. For those who are unfamiliar with this, it says you do a resistance band or a cable. You're gonna set the cable, whatever, about navel belly button height, right? And then add some weight, whatever it might be. Take a couple steps out. You're gonna start with like a D handle, right? So it's a D, and you're gonna start again right at kind of the belly button. You're gonna press out, and you're gonna press back in, right? Very slow and controlled. But the idea here is that you're not letting that weight rotate you, right? So we're kind of coming back to this like anti-rotational work of stabilizing and bracing, right? Like I don't think a lot of people really know how to properly brace. Like it took me I don't know, probably almost a decade to actually truly learn how to brace properly, right? Like you think you're doing it, but like I look, I see now how I brace, and I think about like 5, 6 years how I braced. I'm like, it's way different, right? And so learning to just be able to resist weight with those abdominals is again going to break. Like, I mean, for parents out there, how many times has your kid maybe just jumped on one side, right? Like, hey, like, oh, right. And so you gotta learn how to do that bracing factor. And so something like a Pallof press is going to be fantastic for that. And the cool thing is you can kind of work through completely different rep ranges, right? Like you want to go like heavy, heavy. Awesome. We can really work on that and build some strength. You want to go endurance, with quotation marks, man, go 15, 20, 30 reps and really go slow. It's going to be a lighter weight, but then really you can hold it for 3, 4, 5 seconds, come back in. And so again, it's easily scalable to what you're wanting to do, kind of what your goal is, and then what your fitness level is too. And like, this is one that, like, especially in my in person, like, it's always in a program, it's always in a training session. It's something that we're going to be working.
Yeah, I love the Pallof press as well. You're improving your spinal stability. You're going to protect the lower back. If you're doing any type of deadlifting, the Pallof press should be somewhere in your routine. Um, I I know for me, to touch on what you said about learning how to properly brace. So my initial lifting background comes from powerlifting, and I thought for sure, oh yeah, I'm bracing properly, I'm doing well. I was like, a couple years into lifting at this point and competing. Mm, and it was a Pallof press. Somebody I was training with was like, hey, start doing this. And that was my eye-opening moment of, okay, there is a better way to learn how to control my abdominal muscles, how to better control my core. So I love the Pallof press. I feel like the majority of people who do know it more from like physical therapy rather than from
Yeah.
personal training.
Yeah. It's kind of like face pulls, right? Like it's not flashy, like it's not like, it kind of looks a little silly, but the benefits just are tenfold.
Right. It's one of those movements that I feel like the gym, like one level above a newbie, like that person who's been there for like 6 months, if they see you doing a Pallof press, it's the what is it, the Dunning-Kruger effect of like how one line is like how long you've been doing something for, and then the other line is how much you think you know, and then you're like, "Oh shit," it comes back down. So it's like the people that are in that early stages where they think they know everything would look at somebody doing a Pallof press and go, "Dude, you're stupid. You're just sitting there pressing a cable away from you. It's not doing anything. You're not working your triceps right if you think it's triceps. You're not working chest if you think it's working chest." And it's like,
Yeah. Working my inner chest. Yeah.
like, calm down, jackass. I'm actually building my core, and this is just a warm up. So I love the Pallof. For me, the last one that I have on my list was, this is more so for the dads out there, for the guys, hip thrust slash glute bridge. I know it can look ridiculous, especially for us guys. We can feel a little funny doing it, but whenever you do your hip thrust, it's directly developing your glutes. It's going to improve your ability to jump. It's going to improve your ability to sprint. It's going to improve overall lower body power. It's going to improve your squat. It's going to improve your deadlift. Your wife is going to want to touch your butt more. Like, every if you do hip thrust, people want to touch your butt. That's like one of my laws. Like Isaac Newton, if he was alive today, he'd go, "Yep, that's my next law. If you do
Yeah.
hip thrust, people want to touch your butt."
Yeah. It's fourth. Yeah. Newton's fourth law. Yeah. Yeah. And and again, like, how much percentage of the population have some type of low back issue? And like, so, you want to, I don't want to say fix your low back. I think that's too specific, but
Improve.
like, if you want to greatly increase your chances of improving your low back pain, do hip thrusts, right? And I think, the one caveat is it is a pain in the ass to set up with a barbell. Yeah, I get it. It sucks. It is honestly, that is like the main reason I don't do them, is because I don't want to, like, because I can do it. I can do four 4 to 500 pounds, right? And so to go through that whole process, too much like work, which seems silly. Smith machine, right? That actually does make it a lot easier. Or if your gym has like a hip thruster, right? Or something where it again just makes the setup a little bit easier, use those. But yeah, like no one's looking at you. No one cares what you're doing. They're all too involved with themselves and how they look. So I understand it might look a little silly, but yeah, I mean, no one cares. And when you're walking around with that big booty, man, people are going to be jealous.
Exactly. Everybody wants to be a big booty Judy.
Yeah, baby.
I gotta say this also. What's crazy is that even for the home gym space, the cost of a dedicated hip thrust machine, you can get one new now for like $500. And I'm very big on designing your home gym around get pieces of equipment that do more than one thing. The nice thing is that a lot of them now are going to where the backside of the hip thrust machine is also now a belt squat.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Talking about underrated exercises. I really wish my gym had a belt squat.
I know. See, and like I thought about putting that one on my list, but I recognize it's hard to find a gym with one. And even then, if you look at like the actual leverage points of different belt squat machines, that's why like a pit shark versus the Rogue Rhino versus Bells of Steel, like they can all vary and have a different pull point. Some of them pull you more forward than they do down. If there was
Yeah,
enough control across the board of how the movement feels from person to person, I think that would end up on my list. So for me, I realize I also skipped over this. I put the Pallof press in that S tier
yeah,
because of all the core benefits. And if you've got a stronger, well-built core, if you've got, a more stable spine, you're going to have higher quality of life. So hip thrust, I'm gonna put soundly in the A tier. Like all of these are at least A tier, but if I had to give like two for the S tier, the single leg deadlift, and the Pallof press. Those get my S tier for five of the most overlooked exercises, and those two are just absolute piece they resist.
yeah. Can I throw like one more in?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hyperextensions.
yeah.
Savi also hyper or reverse hypers. I mean, so along your spine, you've got these two like long muscles that run the whole gambit there. And they're obviously more endurance type muscle fibers. I mean, they're keeping us upright throughout the course of the day. But, especially in those hyperextensions to go slow all through the spine. You're going into full flexion and then coming all the way into that like hyperextension again, just like not super flashy, kind of, seems a little boring, but just to build up those spinal muscles, again, like just some underrated, underlooked things that, again, for your deadlifts, your squats, just daily life, you're gonna see a lot of benefits. And I'm guilty of skipping those a lot because I'm just at the end of my workout and I want to go home. But just a quick little bonus exercise, if you will.
Even just setting up on like the end of a bench or like I'm gonna piss some people off with this recommendation. Like the seated cable bench is like usually the perfect height, damn near. Setting up to do the reverse hyperextensions on that can be just absolutely phenomenal. I love them. It's something I should do more myself, but also I'm kind of working with some limited equipment for right now. But no, man, I love the list. And speaking of list, I want to do a continuation. I think that you're gonna probably be a little pissed at me for this one.
Okay.
All
Can't
right,
wait.
we're gonna do it again. We're gonna blind rank, so Tyler doesn't know the order. We're gonna go 1 through 5 again, but I'm gonna have you blind rank hockey players.
Okay.
All right, first one up, rank them 1 through 5. Sidney Crosby.
I mean, that's so hard because like I'm gonna go you know what? No, he has to be number one. Like the and I because I'm thinking across eras, right? Like so I mean I'm going Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, like all of like these legends of the game, right? But I think his longevity. He did have some, injuries early in his career, but his longevity, the way he plays the game, like especially along like the boards and like his wall work is insane. Like you want to talk about big booty. That guy's got a dump truck on him,
Yeah.
right? His leadership, he's a rocket, man. He's so good looking. He's 38, like, and he's still playing at like a high level. And so, yeah, and I mean 2010, right? Like Vancouver Olympics, golden goal, right? Iggy Iggy, right? And so, I mean, at the risk of not
You're
knowing what the rest of the list is, he's got to be number one, just
man,
from how good
yeah,
he is in on all 200 feet of the game.
that is some confidence, man. Because I was gonna say, like, hey, just for clarification, this is like
I know, but like but I also think about the eras, that he's played in, and when I'm assuming Wayne Gretzky's going to pop up. I mean, goalies and defensemen and fourth lines back in that day was like, freaking Joe Blow down the street, right? Like, so the level of competition over the 20 or close to 20 years I think he's been playing, like the game has gotten so good, and he's been able to maintain, like he played kind of in the dead puck era when there was so much hooking and grabbing, and so he's kind of played, in my opinion, in some of the hardest hockey, across the board.
that's a fair take. That's a really good take. Number 2,
Let me nerd out.
Gordie Howe.
I mean, that one's hard because I mean, obviously I never got to see him play, but like you hear, like, I mean, played till he was 50, right? Like, and completely redefined the position, right? And I mean, you're gonna hear like Mount Rushmore. He's always gonna be up there. I think again, just for the era that he played in, I'm gonna go 3 or 4.
Are you going 4?
I'm gonna go 3.
You're gonna go 3. Oh, all right. The next one up, Ovi.
Ovi. I'm gonna go 3. I know he the greatest goal scorer. I get it. I know all of that. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go 3 on that one.
Wait. You put Gordie at 3. That's
Sorry. Oh man, I want to go Gordy 4, him 3. Okay, I'll go 4
for
because
Ovechkin.
I assuming Wayne Gretzky, so I got to put him in 2.
That is the next one is Gretzky.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one then is Bobby Orr.
I mean, yeah, he's got to go 5, but again, like it's so hard.
If I had to do this list again, I probably would have done like me the best hockey, like give me random hockey players of the last like 20 years. So I feel
Yeah.
like that would make it more challenging. Maybe that's what I'll do next week.
Yeah, let's do that because yeah, I mean, all of those guys could be number 1.
Right. I mean, because damn, you made a hell of an argument for Crosby. Because for me, like growing up, seeing the tail end of Gretzky's career, really, like that was special. And I remember just being like, damn, you got to just respect him. He's even in his final years, he's a threat. Anytime he's on the ice, anytime that he's on there, you got to just respect him. But then, okay, like you said, Crosby has played in the hardest era. Gordie Howe, that is always going to be talk of like
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore.
He
He's a default one, right?
Same with Bobby Orr, like
Same with Bobby Orr, and then Ovechkin, like Ovi's just
he's
man. Like I
he's
saw this
just
list, and I was like,
yeah.
Tyler's going to hate me.
That's hard. That especially leading off with Sid the Kid.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to close us out?
Yeah, I guess. So I mean, yeah, thanks for watching. Let us know, try some of these exercises. Like, let us know some feedback. I mean, certainly not an extensive list or exhaustive list. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. If you guys ever want to see, like, if you guys got certain topics that you would like us to talk about, let us know. We're always looking and happy to, see what people want to hear about. If you're looking for some coaching, you can go to our website, fitbodinstitute.com, schedule a free 30-minute Zoom call with either Phil or myself. More than happy to help you out in any of your goals. Until next time, we'll see you then.